Sometimes, fighting alone is not enough. Raise the dead, put an entire army under your control, and kill anyone who stands in your way. Hello travelers, Boardman21 here, and today's build is the Fire Minion Necromancer. This was kind of an updated version of the last one we did, however we did change some things around, and we're using Drain Life instead of Rip Blood with it. We're going to have a lot less total minions, but we're going to basically have the same amount of damage output. We're not going to be doing any reflected damage, we're just going to be doing straight fire damage with 30 to 40 minions, and they're going to do enough damage that they can basically just wipe everything on the map. It's very nice for speed running through monos. You literally actually don't have to stop walking with your character, you just keep running all the way to the end, and you just keep spamming Wraiths and you keep spamming Drain Life so that you constantly have mana coming in and life coming in, so that when you take a hit your life will be essentially instantly filled back up. The only thing you have to worry about is a one-shot, but for the most part those don't happen very often. We managed to take on all the bosses. You can stand and face tank the Emperor, so there's not really much that can kill you, and you'll notice that when you play with it, the amount of leech that you're just getting off of your own minions is really incredible. Alright, let's go ahead and get into the skills. For our skills, we'll be doing Summon Wraith, Dreadshade, Drain Life, Summon Skeleton Mage, and Summon Bone Golem. For Summon Wraith, what we really care about is just that it's going to be a one-time cast and get as many of them out as we can to give them as much health and to slow down their Drain Life. So we have 1 point in Locus of Resurrection so that they will be summoned wherever our cursor is, 2 points in Dark Sky to unlock Echoes Inside. With 1 point there, it now turns into a cooldown skill where you'll summon 3 of them over the course of a few seconds, and then it has a 6-second cooldown. This does heavily increase the mana cost. Then we put 5 points in Stygian River so that the cooldown is much less. We actually only have a total of 4.4 second cooldown on it, and then we added the amount of Wraiths that we get, so we now get 6 of them every 4.4 seconds. With 2 points in Hunting for some more health, 2 points in Grave Reality for even more health, and then 4 points in Delay the End so that their health decay is 32% slower. For Dreadshade, we have 3 points in Flesh Harvest, 1 point in Dread Plague, and 1 point in Martyrdom. Now we have a lot of int, so we once again are always going to be trying to stand in the circle with Dreadshade so that we get a bunch of armor and we'll get the bonus effects from it. It will give us some damage increases, which we ourselves are not super worried about, but what it does is it means that we damage our minions more, which just means we get a lot more leech and we'll survive much easier because our life will be refilled so quickly. The other thing is this also affects your allies, which will be all the other minions, and it means that all your minions are going to get some really crazy damage buffs as well, and they're going to be hitting really hard. Normally people complain because they see their minions only hitting for 30, 40, maybe 80, maybe 100 damage. Here we're doing crits for 800 to 1000 damage from all of our minions. So essentially with 40 minions you can do up to 40,000 damage per attack, which is pretty crazy. You have 2 points in Spectral Presence to increase the area, 4 points in Grim Fate, which increases the area, gives you a more damage buff, 1 point in Symbolic Apparition so that it now affects everyone and everything, 3 points in Dying Coven so that everyone gets increased attack and cast speed, 3 points in Lingering Doom so that it reduces the amount of health decay, which doesn't really matter because with 1 point in Pernicious Pact we no longer decay health with it, we just have Everlasting Poison, so essentially your minion's going to die. However, since you're basically putting this on Wraiths is the main minion that you'll have it on, they're dying anyway, so you're just going to be resummoning them. Occasionally you'll hit your Golem or you'll hit your Mage with it, When you see them die, you just resummon them. Not too difficult. And 1 point in egoism so that your minion affected with it will always crit, and so that it has a 6-second cooldown. This is what will allow you to just put it on auto cast so that it will constantly have a few of them open. It lasts, you know, until a minion dies. So if it's on the Golem or on a Mage or something that's regenerating a lot of life, you'll have a few of them around so that you don't have to be trying to stay around one minion. You can always be in the circle around many different ones. For drain life, we have 5 points in empowered drain to increase its damage, 1 point in pustulant end so that we have a necrotic explosion every time that it kills anything, 1 point in grim harvest so that you can target your own minion. You get 10 mana gained per second per minion that you are targeting. 1 point in necrotic feast makes it to where you only target your minions, but this gives you 50% more health leech, which is huge because you have a lot of leech going on with this skill. However, if you'd like to do some damage to the bosses yourself, as we can do easily, just take this point out, you still get plenty of leech, and you don't have to just target your own minions. Just make sure that you are at least getting some of your minions, because you're going to want your mana back, as this is a very expensive skill. In the setup that we have, it costs 120 mana. We have 3 points in Ravenous for more leech, 3 points in Insatiable for even more leech, 1 point in Dark Shackles. This will now let you cast it, and it just lasts for a few seconds, so that this way it's not a channeled skill anymore. So you just kind of cast it, leave it there, and have your minions run through it, or push in and have your minions sit on it so that you'll get a bunch of mana back. 2 points in Enduring Night to increase that duration to 5 seconds, and 1 point in Grasp of the Damned gives you 10 additional targets, which means you can now target up to 13 minions at once, which means you're capable of getting 130 mana back per second, which is pretty ridiculous. For Summon Skeleton Mage, we have 4 points in Splintered Down for the extra projectiles, 2 points in Argonaut Speed, 5 points in Sailor Mortis to give them that huge base crit chance, 3 points in Grey Merchant so that every time that they do crit, they have a percentage of their maximum health healed, 1 point in Cryomancers because we are doing a full Fire Ignite build. These are the guys that you want. 1 point in Inferno to get rid of the regular mages, and 4 points in Flame Rot so that you have Ignite and Ignite duration for them. You also get some poison, duration, and poison effect, but we're not too worried about those as that's not what we're stacking. And then for the summon Bone Golem, we just want him to help out our other minions, and for himself to take some of the threat away so that we ourselves are not being chased down. We have 4 points in Amalgam of Primalist, 5 points in Amalgam of Sentinels, 4 points in Unnatural Speed, 4 points in Tower of Bones, and 3 points in Fragments of the Fallen. For passives, we have 21 points in the base Acolyte class, with 8 points in Blood Aura, 8 points in Forbidden Knowledge, 4 points in Dark Rituals, and 1 point in Soul Aegis. We have 16 points in the Lich, with 8 points in Crippling Insight, 8 points in Survival of the Cruel, and then 74 points in the Necromancer. We have 8 points in Elixir of Hunger, 8 points in Risen Army, 8 points in Blood Armor, 8 points in Cursed Blood, 5 points in Frantic Summons, 5 points in River of Bones, 6 points in Heresy, 10 points in Moonlight Prior, 8 points in Tyrant, 3 points in Cling to Life, 4 points in Empty the Graves, and 1 point in Disciples of Necromancy. The 4 points in Empty the Graves means that you will get a lot more armor and a lot more health regen per minion you have active, so when you have 30 to 40 of them up, you're even more tankier. You are easily able to stack, especially if you're inside the circle of Dreadshade. You can get 4,000 to 5,000 armor pretty easily. On top of that, you'll have a couple hundred health regen, and then on top of that, you just have a massive amount of leech. So your survivability is pretty up there. You can push a couple hundred waves in the arena. However, once your minions start dying really fast, your tank ability pretty much goes down the hole. For items and idols, we have 3 Adorned Immortal idols, so that we have ones that give us a percentage chance to summon a Flame Wraith instead of a regular Wraith. The suffix on these don't really matter. We have some that have minion chance to apply Mark of Death. We have some that give minions critical strike chance. Our other 2 1x1 idols are just some minion physical damage, which doesn't really do any good. Feel free to put anything in this 4th corner. For uniques, we have 2 uniques. The first unique is the Dragon Flame Edict, which you get from killing the Emperor. I believe it drops at like a 14% rate, so it might take you a few tries to get it. However, it is definitely worth it. It gives a huge percentage chance for all of your minions to ignite on hit. It gives them a huge percentage chance of fire damage, and it gives them some fire resistance, and it lets you have some damage reflection. You also have a 60% chance for the nearest minion to the target location to cast Dragon Flame Nova whenever we use a minion skill, which isn't super often, but every once in a while you'll see one go off and the damage is just kind of there. It's just kind of an extra cool effect to see. The other unique that we're wearing is Orion's Eye. We just did this because we wanted as much mana as possible, and this was a nice way to get it. Feel free to craft your own unique, put mana on it, get some mana in other spots. However, you do want to make sure you kind of have above 200 mana so that you're capable of using all of your skills all at the same time. So like when you teleport into a new area, you can use all of them without going negative, because once you're negative you won't be able to cast Drain Life, which means you won't be able to get your mana back. So you want to make sure that you have enough to be able to cast everything at least once altogether at one time. For the rest of our gear, for our chest, we're wearing Profane Robes. We have Int, Health Regen, Shared Fire Damage, and Increased Health. For the Ivory Mask, we have the exact same stats except flat health instead of increased. For our belt, we have Minion Health, Minion Dodge, Minion Damage, and Hybrid. For our rings, both of them have Int, Increased Minion Health, Minion Damage, and Health. For our relic, we have a Stained Tome, which gives us Int, Minion Health, Minion Damage, Health. Boots give us Int, Minion Health, our flat health, and movement speed. And for the gloves, Int, Health Regen, Hybrid Health, and Increased Minion Damage. For our character sheet, as you can see, we have 88 Intellect. Now remember that 88 is going to be multiplied by 25 when it comes to getting armor, so you're getting over 2,000 armor for free whenever you're inside of Dreadshade off of a minion. And then for our damages, as you can see, not very high. Our defense stats aren't great. We're not running any resistances. We don't have a whole lot of armor without anything going on. There's no dodge. Our minion stats, they have quite a bit of damage, however. And then like I said, you can see that our health regen's at 86, but the moment that we sit here and start getting everything going, boom, once you get inside of a Dreadshade, once you have everything else going on, you can see that our armor jumps up to over 2,800. For the skill rotation, like I said, I like to put everything on autocast except for the Summon Skeleton Mage and the Drain Life. So I'll go ahead and put everything on autocast. And then all you have to worry about is making sure that you have the maximum amount of mages, which is going to be 4, and then before running out of mana, you want to make sure that you get a Drain Life off so that all of your mana will come back, and then all you're worried about is hitting with Drain Life just to keep your mana full. Every time, the way that I try to time this when I'm going through monos is every time that I stop to recast Dreadshade, I just go ahead and throw it on a Drain Life at the exact same location so that you'll instantly get your mana back. As you can tell, as soon as they're in that, you just get a massive amount of mana back. It'll always stay full, and at the same time, you are also leeching all of the damage that you do by them so that your health always stays full as well. Alright, let's go ahead and get into some more gameplay.